Here we have a commutative diagram that we'd like to fine-tune a little bit. I notice that these labels are quite large, so I'd like to make them smaller. This O plus should be a big O plus, and I want to make sure that these parentheses are appropriately sized and not interfering with the subscript. It would look nicer if these arrows that show the commutativity of the diagram were larger. And I also noticed that these two arrows are going down and to the right instead of being horizontal. So those are the issues that I'd like to address. This diagram is written using the TeX commutative diagram package and the matrix arrows in calc library. So first things, let's deal with those labels. So let me just search for them. And so if I search for restrict, I find the block of code that they're all in. And you can see that whether it's restrict, extend, or inflate, they're all preceded with a right bracket, a space, and a left curly brace. And that's the only instance of that pattern. So I can use that to my advantage and replace it with that followed by /small. And what that does is makes all of my labels a little bit smaller at once. Now let's go fix that O plus. So I see my O pluses. I'm marking the beginning and the end of that block. And what I notice is that they've used underset to do the subscript when I really just want it to be big O plus with the underscore. So I'm actually going to eliminate this part and then change underset to big O plus underscore. So within that block, I'll get rid of those O pluses and change underset to big O plus with an underscore. Okay, so I have those O pluses appropriately sized, but the parentheses are too large. I noticed that they're at that level 2, that capital B-I-G, and I'd like them just at level 1, so that lowercase b-I-G. So within that block, I can change that capital B-I-G to lowercase b-I-G. Okay, and now they're more appropriately sized. Okay, let's deal with these arrows for the commutativity. They're currently done with circlearrowleft, but I'd like to take advantage of the arc drawing tool in the TeX package to be able to draw a larger arrow. So let me go here to the bottom of this TeX code. And we're going to draw at a location relative to the little matrix M, and this just stands for the row and the column, and I'm going to target this one right here. It's in the 1, 2, 3, 4th row, and then the 1, 2, 2nd column. So if I go 4th row, 2nd column of that matrix M, and I'm going to draw an arc. And let me just think about drawing a full circle. If I start here at 90, go the whole way around, I'd be at 450. So 90, 450, and 10 point. That should get me a circle. Okay. And now I'd like that gap at the top. So if I advance this about, I don't know, 20 points and back this off 20 or 30 points, I should have that gap. Now I'd like it to be over to the left and up some, so I can shift it here. So X shift, how about to the left a few points, and Y shift, how about up a few points. Okay, so that looks good. Let me just add the arrow to that arc. And while these arrows match, it would be really nice if it matched the arrowhead that I was using in my commutative diagram, which is the stealth arrowhead. So I can change that. Okay. Now I'd like to have this larger arrow for the commutative diagrams to be over here. Okay. So let me go ahead and take this and copy it twice. And then I just have to change where in the matrix this is located. And this is in the 2nd row and the 5th column, and this is in the 4th row and the 5th column. So 2nd row, 5th column, 4th row, 5th column, and there we'll have those arrows placed. I did introduce a new problem. As you can see, this label of restrict is now colliding with my arrow, so I'll need to fix that as well. But first, let me get rid of these little circle arrow lefts. So we can see the block of code that has those three in there. If I were to just go ahead and remove them, keep in mind with the matrix library, you have to have something there. So I'm just putting empty braces. If I just remove them, then it also acts like there literally is nothing there with no height or width. And so it changes the spacing of my diagram, and I don't want that. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and undo that. What I would really like is just for the spacing to be preserved, but for those not to be there. And that's exactly what the phantom command would do. So instead of replacing it with nothing, I'm going to replace it with phantom circle arrow left. And so now we can see that same spacing preserved. Let's go ahead and fix this restrict. So let me search for restrict. And then this is going to be in the third row. So let me find the one in the third row. There it is. First thing I might think to do is to smash the top of that so it raises it up. But if I do that, it collides in with the arrow. So that is a little too much. So let me back that off a little bit by lowering it. And then I can see that it's now neither colliding with the arrow nor the commutativity arrow that I put in. Last thing we wanted to fix were these two arrows, which aren't horizontal, but instead they're going down and to the right. So let's go ahead and look for that newly placed bigopluses. Okay. What I notice is that I think it's the subscript on that bigoplus that's creating that imbalance. And so I'd like to have a superscript here, and I'd like to just put a phantom superscript in. So I can do that same thing that I used with removing those sort of center circle arrow lefts here. And you see that that arrow just became horizontal or raised just a bit. So this will work. And then I can use that down in the other to go ahead and fix that arrow as well. Okay. So now all of the arrows are horizontal, and we've addressed all of those original concerns or ways we wanted to fine-tune this diagram.